Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. How was your night? It was. I hope it was well. Now ni wakati sasa wa kwenda hewani, and you're here for the first time. Huyu ni wenu Gashis Kaiman, the tallest man in Black Africa. Welcome to our today's show. If you ask William Samoei Ruto, he will not tell you how he won the elections. He's not sure that he actually won the elections, but he knows that he was declared mshindi wa uchaguzi wa Agosti 2022. If you ask many of the MPs and the senators and even the governors of Kenya Kwanza, they will tell you they were not sure whether William Samoei Ruto could win the elections. If you ask Baba, Uhuru, and others, and even the CS, they will tell you they were 100% sure that Baba would win the elections. In fact, it has never dawned on them that they lost the elections. But I want us to look at the American herd in these elections, in African politics, and more specifically in Kenyan elections. Because what we know is that America interest comes first. When you look at the American foreign policy, it is American interest, and American interest. Other people's interest comes first. The foreign policy is very egocentric in nature. It is meant to benefit the people of America. And what we have, you remember, the choices have consequences. When America wanted people to vote for Raila Odinga. But why would America work so hard to ensure that Baba lost the elections? Because even IBC Wafula Chebukati is not even certain. Ni kama tu vile Kivuitu aliulizwa kama Kibaki alishinda uchaguzi akasema hajui nani alishinda. In fact, if you ask Kivuitu, if you ask Chebukati doesn't even know how Baba lost the elections, though he knew that there were forces working to ensure that Raila does not win the elections. And behind the scene was the American herd. So the reason why you saw the day before yesterday, William Samoei Ruto lifting the ban on GMO is because of American interest. You remember very well that immediately he was sworn in, he went to the United General Assembly, and again he also met the trade representative of US, and again he also met Biden, the American president, because of the first reason I'm talking about trade. So trade is very, very important as far as America is concerned, and more so that concerning GMO. Remember, Uhuru's government had banned the exportation and the use of GMO, and actually it was something that many people did not understand why. But if you look at the scientific explanation, is that the GMO have a number of disadvantages. So let me highlight just 2, 3 very fast. The first one is because of the allergies that normally happens to our body. So they cause a lot of allergies, some of them so difficult to cure. The other reason is because the bodies tend to develop resistance, especially to antibiotics. The other reason is because some have been associated with cancer. The other reason is because when you look at the something like Kabi that is actually going to be used, especially in pollination, what is likely to happen is that this animal, this insect, is likely to be affected in one way or the other. And once it now pollinates, especially cross-pollination, it pollinates another plant, that plant is also likely to be affected. And whatever continues. So when you eat GMO, say food, meat, what is likely to happen is that you are likely maybe even to change in future. You never know. So, and again, there's no fully scientific explanation that can show that they are safe. No scientific has been carried out to show that they are 100% safe. So these are some of the main reasons why Uhuru's government rejected the use of GMO and importation of GMO food, especially maize in Kenya. The other reason why America was very much interested in and how it influenced Kenyan elections is because of China's influence in Africa. You know very well that China has a lot of influence in Africa, and to be specific in Kenya, almost every project is carried out by China. Wachina wamekuwa ndio ambao wanafanya kazi nyingi sana, ndio ambao wanapewa kandarasi, ndio ambao wana karabati barabara, ndio wanajenga daraja, ndio wanafanya karibu kila kazi huku nchini Kenya. And if you listen to Rigathi Gachagua is very bitter with the Chinese. In fact, they're likely to run away. Most Chinese are likely to run away from Kenya. If you listen to what Rigathi Gachagua is saying, okay, we don't deny that sometimes he has a fact because they have penetrated each and every sector, including hockey. But you see, what they are raised is that they are here illegally. Because how do they come and how do they get the trading license? How do they get the permit? So kile ambacho tunaona ni kwamba kuwepo kwa China katika bara la Afrika ni jambo ambalo linafanya Amerika kuona kwamba jambo hili halifai hata kidogo. The other reason why America interfered with Kenyan elections is because of terrorism. If Baba took over power, I can tell you, KDF would have been withdrawn for Somalia. And Ruto, you see, Ruto is not going to withdraw KDF Somalia kwa sababu of American vested interest. KDF is in Somalia because of American interest, not of Kenyan interest. In fact, Kenya has no problem with Somalia, other than that of the border in the Indian Ocean. Kwa kile ambacho tunapata ni kwamba wanaona ya kwamba ikiwa Baba angekuwa rais, kile ambacho kingekuwa ni kwamba their interests would have been very much affected by the withdrawal of KDF from China, and not China, from Somalia. The other reason is because, you know, China is already the second largest economy. China is going to overtake America in the next 3-4 years. It's a superpower. And America has to come up with a way of curtailing, of stopping China from being the lord, because China is going to lord it over America. And America is not happy with this. That is why America is looking for allies in Africa. And Kenya happened to be one. And you see, Baba is so much inclined towards China. Kwa sababu Baba na Kibaki ndio walileta China hapa nchini Kenya. Hivyo ndivyo watu wajui. It is not Kibaki alone who decided to shift from European countries, that's from the north to the east. Kwa hivyo kile ambacho tunapata ni kwamba kuwepo kwa rais William Samoei Ruto. If you look at William Samoei Ruto, he is shifting away from the west and he's moving towards he's shifting away from China, that is the east, and moving towards the west. And he's doing this because of China's interest. You know, lazima wangekubaliana na Joe Biden vile ambavyo wataendesha biashara, how they are going to look at each other's interests. So that is why the Americans tend to interfere with the Kenyan elections. The other reason is because when you look at Raila Amolo Odinga is a man who advocates capitalism with a human face. That is why you refer to him as a social democrat. But when you look at William Samoei Ruto believes in total capitalism with no human face. And this is what America advocates. Everyone for himself and God for us all. That is what they want. But Baba ni mtu ambaye anaangalia maslahi ya watu, anaangalia kile ambacho kinaweza kuletea madhara wa watu. It is capitalism but with a human face. The other thing is because when you look at William Samoei Ruto is not very keen on fighting corruption. William Samoei Ruto, somehow when you look at him, because when you look at Baba and Karua would have fought corruption and its ugly face. And kile ambacho tungepata ni kwamba these traders that are full of corruption, that you see the offices, the people who benefit most are usually the Americans. And when you are fighting corruption, you are fighting America. So they had to interfere with the African elections, and specifically Kenyan elections. The other reason is that Baba is an advocate of Pan-Africanism. And Pan-Africanism is for the unity of Africa, whereby Africa would trade with itself. Africa would work with itself, would unite. Anajua umoja ni nguvu. Na kile ambacho tunaona kwamba if Africa were to unite, then the person who would be hate most is American. And that is why the America were not happy. That is why they had to do everything possible to interfere with Kenyan elections, to ensure that Baba does not win the elections. So this was so bad. It was so bad. The other thing is that they know very well that there's no way Baba can be a puppet of the West. He can't. Baba is an independent person. Baba knows what he's doing. Baba has principles. And this is something that the American people don't want. They want to see somebody whom they can manipulate. Somebody whom they can... In fact, it is America that is going to rule Kenya. That's what people should understand. America is going to rule Kenya. So wakisema hivi ndivyo ambavyo itakuwa. And that is why the subsidies were removed very fast because of American interest. Because you see, when you see the Britain's old institution, that is IMF and World Bank, kile ambacho tunaona ni kwamba they present the American interest. So that is why the subsidies were removed. And if you ask yourself, now that the subsidies were removed, who benefited? Zilienda wapi? Kwa hivyo kile ambacho tunaweza kusema ni kwamba there is all the reason to indicate that Baba was rigged out by the American. And what we have is a rigged election. So when Baba said that he won the election by 60%, he means exactly that. That is what happened. He won the elections. And it is very, very difficult for you to convince anybody else that Raila did not win the elections, because that is not the case. So if you're here for the first time and you have never subscribed to this channel, take that minute today. Subscribe to our channel. Here we analyze politics, pure politics, especially in Kenya, in Africa, and sometimes in the world. And you can also like our video. Kindly support this channel by liking our video, commenting, and even sharing. And our number is always there. So if you have a topic you think that we should analyze, kindly do us a favor and send that video or that topic through our sub number. And may you have a blessed day. Bye-bye.